Hey everyone, this is Mike from Mailgun. Today I'm going to show you how to use version 4 of Mailgun's email validation API. In this demo, we're going to cover a few set of API calls to perform an email validation job, and I'll show you how to exercise these APIs right in your terminal. Before we get started, there's a prerequisite to using the API, and that is to have an active Mailgun account. This will allow you to retrieve your private API key, which you're going to need later. To find your API key, log into app.mailgun.com with your user credentials, navigate to Settings, then API Security. From here, you'll select this eye icon to reveal the API key and copy this into your clipboard. There are two ways you can move forward with the email validation job, and the first one I'm going to cover is how to submit a job to validate a mailing list of email addresses you want to send to. If you already have a mailing list in your Mailgun account, all you would need to do is reference the name for that list. You can find your mailing list here under Messages. It's okay if you don't have a list there already. It's easy to create one by navigating to Mailing Lists, clicking Create Mailing List, give it a name, and uploading your CSV at the bottom. Once your mailing list is uploaded to your Mailgun account, just double check that the number of recipients matches the total email addresses you had in the CSV file. And we will deduplicate any email addresses in the CSV file that appear multiple times. To submit a list validation, simply post to our API referencing the alias of the mailing list. The second way you can run a job using the email validation API is to submit a request to bulk validate. The prerequisite here is that you have a CSV in hand consisting of addresses you want to validate all at once. So suppose my CSV is saved on my desktop. We're going to end up referencing its location in the API call. To bulk validate, simply post to our API resource in your terminal, giving your job a friendly name like bulk3 here, and submitting it. While the request is processing, you can check the status by referencing this API endpoint, performing the get command to see if your download URL is ready. When complete, you'll see two separate links to download the return values, one for a CSV and one for a JSON. Let's say I want to retrieve the return values now. From here, you would just copy the download URL for the file type of your choice and paste it into your browser. This will give you the option to download this file. In this example, I'm downloading a CSV file that can be unzipped and viewed in Microsoft Excel. From here, you can see that each email address submitted for processing has gone through several checks in the validation process. You can see the parsed data for each email address in separate columns, along with the result for each validation check. In this version of the email validation API, we see two new return values that have been introduced. The first one is result, which tells you if an email address is deliverable or undeliverable. This means that our system made an attempt to find an MX record for that specific email address, and if present, went further to find out if a mailbox actually exists at that mail server. If an MX record can't be found, it's a good idea to add the undeliverable email addresses to your expressions list. The second value is risk score, which uses high, medium, and low as parameters to help you decide if you should be sending any email to that specific email address. The score is assigned using a proprietary algorithm that weighs the different combinations of return values you could have for any given email address. Now, low-risk addresses are a safe bet to send to, but you roll the dice when sending to medium addresses. Definitely stay away from high-risk addresses. They can be spam traps, blacklisted domains, parked domains, immature domains, disposable addresses, or role-based addresses. These are all high-risk addresses due to the likelihood of either bounces or spam complaints to occur. This has been a quick overview of Mailgun's email validation API. For additional resources, feel free to check out our user manual for email validation that lives in our documentation. Thanks.